Hi, this is Nikki Murphy with the Greenwood Museum. We are open for business Wednesdays through Saturdays from 10 to 4. We would love for you to come and visit with us. We want to give you a sneak preview of two exhibits that we have that we're featuring for the summer. One is Here Comes the Bride. The other one is Pirates and Buccaneers of the Carolinas. Each of the dresses on display is labeled with a sign. Some of them came from the museum's collection. Many of the dresses were loaned to us for the exhibit by members of our community. Some of the dresses have a very special story with them. So we encourage you when you come to please look at the information on each dress. The backdrops for the exhibit on the brides are an inspiration of Marion Smith, our exhibits coordinator, that since so many of the weddings took place in churches, that stained glass windows would be an appropriate backdrop. He found the pictures, and Lakeland Signs created them on the panels that we have hung behind the dresses, and then also a cathedral backdrop on the wall. This dress was worn by Martha Dunlap. She was married to Thornwell Dunlap. The dress was made by Miss Bessie Reynolds, who made lots of dresses for brides and bridesmaids and prom dresses and debutante dresses in the 1940s and 50s and even into the 60s. The lace is Alençon lace, and the dress, it was beautifully worn. It's gorgeous to see all of the trains. Since the back of the bride is usually to the congregation, oftentimes the detail on the back of the dress is more elaborate than the detail on the front. This dress was worn by Amy Grimes Clark. The dress was purchased, and she took lace from her mother's dress and had a little shrug made, and then there are appliques on the veil that surround the train of the dress that came from her mother's dress. So she had a bit of the old and a bit of the new. The dress in the back is actually my wedding dress that I wore in 1976. My husband has a twin sister who loaned me her veil as my something borrowed. I took it to the fabric store, matched the lace, and made the dress with help from my mother and one of my sisters. So that was something special to have the lace that matched my to-be sister-in-law's veil. The little flower girl dress was actually worn by my daughter sometime in 1993, thereabouts, that the collar is embroidered with the French hand-sewn lace and attached to the pretty peach dress. The stained glass windows in the background provide a beautiful backdrop for the wedding dresses. The prie-dieu that is in front, in the center, is from the museum's collection, where a bride and groom would kneel. This dress was worn by Stephanie Turner, who is manager of the Uptown Market. She was married in 2005, but this dress actually has a longer history. Her grandmother wore it in 1947. Stephanie had the dress restored so that she could wear it, and during the restoration process, all of the intricate pleats had to be stitched together so that the project could be completed. We'll take a look at the back of the dress. The back is full of pleats. And again, the backs of wedding dresses are often more elaborate than the fronts because that's what the congregation usually sees. You can see the pleating on the back of the dress that goes all the way down to the train, but the pleating continues up through the waistband and is also at the cuffs on the sleeves of the dress. When Stephanie was married, there was a portrait of her grandmother that was displayed, and wedding guests thought that the portrait was actually of Stephanie, but it was really her grandmother wearing it in 1947. This dress was worn in 2005 by Kelly McWhorter in Greenwood. She is our Uptown Visitors Bureau director. The dress is designer Tadashi dress with all the different tucks that overlap throughout the dress, down the front and in the back. This dress was worn by Mrs. Betty Stevenson, wife of Dr. Travis Stevenson. The story behind this dress is that she and her sister bought the dress together. Her sister married first, And Betty tried on the dress for the first time when she was sitting for her wedding portrait. Her daughter Libba wore the dress again, and also a family friend wore this dress. And the beautiful satin and the detailed buttons are beautiful. And look at the tiny waist. The dress in the back was worn by the Stevenson's daughter, Anne Douglas Stevenson, in 1990, and the puffed sleeves are reminiscent of Princess Diana's style of wedding dress. The dress in the front was worn by Mary Carol Jennings Manoli, daughter of Karen Jennings, who is our executive director at the museum. And Mary Carol had a garden wedding at her parents' house in 2017, and with the garden wedding, she appropriately wore a hat. The dress on the right was worn by Joyce Hyde, Mrs. David Hyde, and Joyce was married in Cleveland, Ohio. And this dress has an exceptionally long train and beautiful piping on the front and at the waist of the dress. In the back, behind Mary Carol Jennings Manoli's dress, is a wedding nightgown from the museum's collection, which is from the 1830s. It's made of linen with ruffles around the neck, down the front, and also at the top of the sleeve, the cuff on the sleeve. The gown is in amazing condition for being something from the 1830s. This beautiful dress was worn by Elnita Lipford Williams in 1999. She was married at Macedonia Baptist Church in Greenwood. She now lives in Florence, South Carolina. The dress features a detachable train, and for the reception, she could take the train off and have a beautiful, elegant gown without having to carry the weight of the train.